May the good spirit be with each and every one of you, and thank you again for the organisers for requesting a welcome to country. In our culture, it's a great sign of respect, and respect is our greatest currency. Thank you very much. May the good spirit.
University of Western Australia hosted the Indigenous Business Enterprise Corporations Conference over a series of 2 days. The conference also included a variety of keynote speakers who challenged the barriers facing the Indigenous community.
Yeah, the conference is really about bringing together different groups. So what we have here today are Indigenous businesses, we've got enterprises in communities, we've also got academics, and we have corporations and corporate sector people, government people, to talk about Indigenous businesses, entrepreneurship, new enterprises developing in communities, native title and so on.
Today's been a fantastic day, great opportunity to hear from a lot of experts within the area of Indigenous business enterprise and corporations.
But it's also a good chance for networking, catching up with old acquaintances and others, but also establishing and expanding those networks.
Our agency works with these young people that disconnected from employment, so we're looking at all ways that we can actually improve that for them, and I guess this is a bit at the top of the spectrum, or perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's better for us to find out a bit more and see how that goes back for our young people.
It's good to see that we're working really well towards, I suppose, improving the gap between Indigenous people and Europeans.
At the moment in Australia, 6% of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are in business. And if we compare that to the number of non-Indigenous people who are in business, that's 17%. So there's an enormous gap of 11%. What we're trying to do is change that, reduce the gap, and what we need to do is build more successful, more competent people who are in business.
The initial government response to native title was, absolute horror that Aboriginal people should have any rights. And so there are far too many obstacles for companies to do business with Indigenous people efficiently so that agreements work to provide benefits to Indigenous people.
Look, I think the problem with native title is the courts are involved. Any time native title ends up in the courts, you end up with a protracted dispute that inevitably divides communities. It doesn't actually result in, I don't think, satisfactory outcomes. It delays things and it costs a lot of money. My view is state governments in particular need to intervene a lot earlier and a lot more aggressive in terms of ensuring that there is a clear time frame to resolve native title outcomes.
We've moved into the post-native title era now, where groups that have agreements need experts in financial planning, financial investment, financial management, economic advice, project management advice, and the capacity is simply not there in the Indigenous world. One of my suggestions is that there be tax incentives for reputable companies to bring expertise into the Indigenous worlds. That would go a long way towards converting native title benefits into economic opportunities for native title groups.
My address to the group today was really about the value of Indigenous business, and it's about seeing the importance of growing Indigenous enterprise for the benefit of all Australians and all of our economic prosperity. So essentially the message was we are on track to growing a vibrant and prosperous Indigenous enterprise sector in a generation, and if we can reach about 67,000 Indigenous businesses by 2041, that's going to mean that they'll contribute back to the economy about $1 billion annually, which is pretty compelling.
The corporate world is so much more effective in providing jobs to Aboriginal people, in procurement from Aboriginal contracting companies. The governments are far behind in these developments. In relation to Indigenous employment, contracting and so on, you have somewhere between 50 and 300 Aboriginal contracting companies in the Pilbara. Each one of those companies is providing employment, and in addition, the majors, the mining companies themselves are providing employment. So you have, upwards of 3,000 Indigenous people with jobs in the Pilbara that simply weren't there 10 years ago.
I think what it does is it highlights the fact that we will need to work together for positive outcomes, certainly in terms of empowering Aboriginal people in business communication and business ownership and business interaction, and that's a good thing. I mean, what we're dealing with here is a raft of different people with an enormous array of speciality and background and experience and expertise in energy, in passion, and that's the whole point of the exercise.
The key for us is that this thing that we've started here at the University of Western Australia maintains itself, is sustained, grows across Australia, and really creates an impact.
The theme of the conference was growth and new opportunities, and it was a chance for the Indigenous community to embrace these new opportunities. This is Juanita Shepherd reporting for Undercurrent.